Today, new signs that one of the key voting blocs that helped propel President Trump back into the White House may have some buyer's remorse. In a North Carolina focus group, young voters who supported Trump expressed frustration that his promises to lower prices and end wars have gone unfulfilled. One 26-year-old told the Washington Post, quote, "I feel betrayed." I want to bring in one of the reporters behind that story, Dan Merica, co-anchor of the Washington Post Daily Brief newsletter. Here on set with me, Julie Roginski, Democratic strategist and author of the Salty Politics newsletter. Break it down for us, if you will, Dan. What did these young voters have to say? How are they feeling now compared to before the election when they supported Trump?
I mean, look, Kamala Harris, the former vice president, she did win young voters, but Donald Trump did better with young voters than any Republican nominee in the last 20 years. And there was a lot of hope from these young voters, they said, when they decided to vote for Donald Trump. They thought he was going to bring down prices. They thought he was going to focus on the economy. And what I heard at this focus group was just a lot of exhaustion, frankly. I mean, these are young people who have 2, 3 jobs, who've gone to school, who feel like they're doing everything that they were told to do, everything right, and they just can't get ahead. And I think the biggest issue there, and where you highlight the betrayal, the bite that we got from one of the voters, is that a lot of these folks thought that he was going to focus on domestic issues, and President Trump clearly hasn't done that to the extent that they believed. I wonder, the question for me and what I went into this reporting trip wondering is, are these folks going to vote again? And throughout the piece, we found a lot of exhaustion with voting in general. One voter in particular said that they were so exhausted, so frustrated with this political moment that they might just not vote again because they don't want to feel like they made the wrong choice, like they do feel like they did with the president.
That's the problem, isn't it, Julie, for Democrats? Because they may say, well, those are votes that Donald Trump lost, but it would be awfully helpful if they could gain them. Do you think it's possible? Do you think when you feel the level of exhaustion that a lot of folks feel and the understandable frustration of people who feel they were promised one thing and got something completely different, why would they trust the process?
I mean, look at this 26-year-old, right? Born the year before 9/11. Grew up in complete and total war from basically when he was 2 years old onward. The wars were finally ended under Joe Biden. Promised that good days would be here again economically. That did not happen. Promised again that Donald Trump would do this, voted for Trump to give him a chance. And now this person is facing potential deployment, and they haven't even taken the draft off the table, potential involuntary deployment to a war that they thought would never happen. And the economy is doing terribly, and the job market's not doing so well either. So if you're a 26-year-old,
but if you're a Democrat,
if you're a
Democrat, then what do you say to that 26-year-old? Or do you just say, you know what, we're going to just take that as a win because they're not going to vote Republican?
Well, no. I mean, you have to persuade that 26-year-old, and you have to tell that 26-year-old, look, you were lied to by this president. The reality is he looked you in the eye, and he lied to you about forever wars. He looked you in the eye and lied to you about the economy getting better. Neither of those things have happened. Your life has not gotten better, even though you were promised that it would. So you took a chance on him. He failed you. Take a chance on us. And hopefully you'll hold us to account if we don't do what we have to do, which right now is playing defense against this president. Again, Democrats can't do anything affirmatively right now, even if they get Congress back, because they won't have the opportunity to obviously override any of his vetoes. What they will do is play defense to prevent him from going to war, to ensure that he doesn't do more horrible things in order to make this economy even worse for people. And then 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, see how we do, judge us, hopefully when there's a Democrat back in the White House.
So I wonder, Dan, if you got the impression that any of these folks who have suggested, gee, maybe I just stay home, might be persuadable by the Democrats, or do they, for example, regret that they did not vote for Kamala Harris?
I think there was some of that, and there were some folks in the group who did vote for Kamala Harris. There were some folks who voted for Donald Trump and said that they did so cautiously and now would rethink who they vote for. I mean, obviously, this is a huge issue this year because the key question around Donald Trump is whether he's going to be able to keep that unique coalition that he built in 2024, which included young voters, if he can get them to the ballot box to vote for Republicans in the midterms. This focus group hints that that might not be the case, that he is leaking voters, leaking support with young voters. And that could be really a huge issue for Republicans who are on the ballot, not only in North Carolina, where there's obviously a high-profile Senate race, a number of high-profile House races, but nationwide, because this is not isolated to North Carolina. This is happening across the United States. We've seen it in polling that you just put up about the broader disapproval that young people have for Donald Trump. I think more societally, it is an issue as well. I think these young people are stressed, they're anxious. They were outspoken throughout the focus group about the impact that they feel like social media is having on their political beliefs. In the piece that you referenced, we get into how a lot of these manosphere figures really pushed the president in the closing weeks of the campaign, how podcasts and influencers were instrumental to his success, especially with young men. And you've seen some of those influencers break with the president over ICE, over the economy, over Iran. It's all coming to a head at the same time. And I think this is a clear pressure point on the president right now, and why you see some of the concern around his focus on Iran instead of a focus on the economy.